ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. Our topic today is maturity. What is maturity in the life? In general terms, what we understand, the maturity in life is growing old. But it is not growing old. Maturity is, it is growing up. What is growing up and what is growing old? See, biologically, everybody becomes old. But growing up means going deeper into your own self, to the roots of your own self. That is, a tree grows up very tall and all that, but still the roots are inside, and as it grows up, the roots go deep inside. So, growing up means growing psychologically and spiritually. See, the maturity which we gather and which we presume that it comes out of the accumulation of knowledge or experiences is not the maturity, the real maturity. See, in our Hindu culture, there is a word called Dvij. Dvij means reborn, it's a rebirth. So, what is it? See, there is ignorance, there is innocence. The innocence belongs to the child. The child is very rich, innerly rich and pure. He doesn't have any knowledge and he doesn't have any desire to gather or accumulate knowledge. That innocence, the child's innocence, when you observe, it lives only in the present. It lives only in the present. And for everything he sees, he wonders at all the things happening around him. That's how he is blissful and joyous all the time. The innocence is very pure and rich. So the sages, after protracted penance, they realize that kind of innocence, to become childlike. To become childlike is a real spirituality. See, this rebirth, rebirth is, what is rebirth? See, we all grow up with all preconceived notions, traditions, cultures, different forms of culture and traditions we were brought up. And whatever we are today is we have learned from others. Whatever our knowledge is, we have borrowed from others. It is not our knowing. So, whatever we have collected and accumulated as knowledge that is stored in the memory. So, whatever action you want to perform, so you draw your experience already, if you had already had that experience, and if you had, like every experience is a learning experience. So you try to do any action with that learning experience, but the knowledge is not ours. The knowledge is borrowed. But what is this kind of rebirth? Rebirth means you are, when you are initiated into any kind of higher spiritual dimensions or practices, you have to clean your mind of all that you know, of all that you have gathered, of all that you have accumulated, that all borrowed knowledge, you have to drop it. So, dropping, then dwelling into higher consciousness and higher dimensions is rebirth. That is called, that is why when he is initiated in Hindu culture into Gayatri tradition and Upasana, that means the real rebirth is to drop all that what you have learned and dwell on the path of knowing by yourself. That is not known by you. So you have to clean up all that, whatever you have accumulated, that knowledge. So this is the difference between ignorance and innocence. If you live your life with that borrowed knowledge, without knowing anything on your own, that is ignorance. That is ignorance. Becoming a child means becoming innocent again. So that is the difference between ignorance and innocence. So the real maturity is when you grow up. And what is the method and what is the process involved in growing up, and how do you know that you are growing up? Meditation is the process to dive deep into yourself, to realize your own godliness, to realize that you are not the body, that you are not the mind, that you are infinite, that you are eternal. So, realizing this truth is maturity. Realizing a step in that direction is growing up. So, when you realize yourself that you are eternal, then your real pilgrimage starts into your own consciousness. So, in that pilgrimage, you realize your true self, your true being. In this regard, there is a great saint by name Saint Francis. So, when he was wandering in the world, he used to travel on a donkey. From village to village, he used to travel on that donkey. So, in his last days, when he was about to leave the body, so all disciples were waiting for his last message and address. And he opened his eyes and said, Brother donkey, you have carried me all my life from village to village without any grumbling. With so much love, you carried me. How can I repay the debt of your love? I cannot repay that debt of love which you have given me and with which you have carried me from village to village and from place to place in the world. See, this is the sensitivity. That sensitivity, that kind of how it blossomed in him because of the process of meditation. It blossomed in him. So that is the peace, serenity, and sensitivity he expressed at the time of leaving the body. See, when that kind of realization takes place, we become silent. You become sensitive and you become silent. So silence is the language which a realized soul expresses. The silence is the language through which he expresses. He speaks. See, how is that? How is that? That's what naturally we question ourselves. How is it possible? See, when you see a statue of Buddha, the statue of Buddha is in a meditative state. So, there is a temple where 24 Tirthankars, all meditative people, sages, their statues are installed. So all statues, all 24 Tirthankar statues, they look similar from outside. So why all are having the same posture, meditative posture? How is it possible? The truth is, though there are 24 Tirthankars with a similar posture in the meditative state, it indicates that their inside state is one and the same. Because of that state, which is similar in all the 24 Tirthankars, that posture naturally happened. That posture is not an imitative from other. It is a natural state of a human being who is in meditation. That is the natural state. So those temples are constructed and those statues are installed there not to see and enjoy, but to experience that oneness which is there in all, that divinity which is there in all, in which they are dwelling. So to experience that kind of oneness, those statues are installed and such temples are constructed. The temples are not simply built for worshipping. When you happen to visit any such kind of temple, it is, remember, only to experience that divinity. So maturity means to love unconditionally is maturity. To feel the whole existence as your family is maturity. To realize that only one and one God and one power and one reality exists everywhere, and to see that is maturity. See, when you become mature, what is the process of this maturity? As already told you, it is meditation. It is pilgrimage into one's own consciousness. And most importantly, what is meditation? Meditation is awareness. See, first be aware of your body. The body performs many actions in a day mechanically. But when you bring awareness, when you observe with awareness each and every action of the body, for example, the hand moves mechanically, the legs move mechanically, but when you move them with awareness, then it has got a beauty and grace. Similarly, the mind, continuous flow of thoughts. So when you are aware of your thoughts, 100% flow of thoughts, but when you are aware, when you bring 1% awareness of your 98% thoughts, and slowly it becomes 98% awareness and 1 thought. So if you bring the mind to that kind of, or to that level of awareness, that is, you are in the right direction of realizing yourself. And the last but least is bring awareness to your feelings, to your moods, to your emotions, whatever is going on. That it is related to heart. Feeling is related to heart. Emotion is related to heart. The pure emotions. When you bring awareness to that, the third level, when you bring that awareness to your feelings, to your moods and all that, there you'll be surprised to notice that you find your own self there, purest self, and being in that self is the ultimate purity. That purity is divinity. That is bliss. That is joy. So, when you are aware of all the three states of the body, the mind, and then heart, you realize that it is an eternal journey. The love only knows the beginning. The end is infinite. The end of the love is infinite. So when you realize that love towards life, the life is a gift, is a reward of the divinity. See, when you joyously lead your life, enjoying each and every moment with that awareness, then you joyfully accept the end point, and you know that it is not the end point, it is a journey into the unknown, into that infinite, into that creation, and you are eternal. So, this is maturity. Thank you.